Mrs. RESIE DEOCAMPO, Head Teacher 3 and School Head. Madam, it's my honor to present to you the 34 candidates of Grade 6 for graduation, 15 of which are males and 19 are females. These pupils have satisfactorily completed and complied the minimum requirements prescribed by the Department of Education under the K-12 curriculum. These candidates are now ready for your confirmation.
By the authority vested in me by the Department of Education through the school's Division Superintendent, Dr. Eli S. Obaldo, CISO 6, and with the strong recommendation of your advisor, CATALINA T. NERPIO, that you have satisfactorily completed the requirements of the elementary education curriculum prescribed by the Bureau of Elementary Education of the Department of Education, I now confirm and accept you, graduates of Gayusan Integrated School, the 16th day of July 2021 for this school year 2020-2021, and that you are now entitled to receive your diploma and all the privileges appertinent thereto. Congratulations!
Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome the graduates of Batch 2020-2021. Abundo Renz AJN, son of Mr. and Mrs. Robert N. Abundo. Aranas Roger Jr. N., son of Mr. and Mrs. Roger F. Aranas. Cabais John Michael F., son of Mr. and Mrs. Greg E. Cabais. Carolino Andre N., son of Mr. and Mrs. Romel R. Carolino. De Los Santos Charles Arvin N., son of Mr. and Mrs. Arvin R. De Los Santos. Metran Jonas C., son of Mr. and Mrs. Dominador N. Metran. Nagal J. Mark N., son of Mr. and Mrs. J. Marnie C. Nagal. Nerpio Reynaldo Jr. T., son of Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo N. Nerpio. Nerpio Edsel Siren N., son of Mr. and Mrs. Ramir N. Nerpio. Nomil Denver N., son of Mr. and Mrs. Raymond N. Nomil. Nono Ronnie N., son of Mr. and Mrs. Arumel N. Nono. Ribose Brian Dave A., son of Miss Bessie A. Ribose. Ribose Nathaniel Ainsley A., son of Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan A. Ribose. Santos Joey N., son of Mr. and Mrs. Louis C. Santos. Velasco John Marvin N., son of Mr. and Mrs. Marvin B. Velasco. Billion Crisan Jane N., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Eduardo C. Billion. Cabais Manilin T., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Manny B. Cabais. Diong Samantha Nicole, daughter of Miss Dallin D. Diong. Estrella Crystal May N., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Nolmer B. Estrella. Meru Catherine O., granddaughter of Mr. Ruben O. Meru. Metran Jessica E., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Joey N. Metran. Miko Princess Alicia I., daughter of Miss Maria Cristina Imperial. Naranha Jonna May I., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan C. Naranha. Naredo Kyla Jane C., granddaughter of Mrs. Anita C. Naredo. Navalta Leslie Ann N., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Viner N. Navalta. Nebre Mariel Janique S., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Mark Nebre. Nerpio Arian May P., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Glenn O. Nerpio. Nivera Daniel Joy C., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. J. N. Nivera. Nivera Janelle N., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Joel N. Nivera. Nomil Sabrina Gale B., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jack F. Nomil. Notario Kristen M., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Emilio Jr. Notario. Radona Maria Christine Joy M., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Glenn C. Radona. Rosario Nizi N., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Nilo Jr. M. Rosario. And last but not the least, Sister Nicole Shane N., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Alan P. Sister.